This is Male Criticism on Ladies' Books by Fanny Fern, also known as Sarah Willis Parton, read by Timothy Hurley. Courtship and marriage, servants and children, these are the great objects of a woman's thoughts, and they necessarily form the staple topics of their writings and their conversation. We have no right to expect anything else in a woman's book. New York Times. Is it in feminine novels only that courtship, marriage, servants, and children are the staple? Is not this true of all novels? Of Dickens, of Thackeray, of Bulwer, and a host of others? Is it peculiar to feminine pens, most astute and liberal of critics? Would a novel be a novel if it did not treat of courtship and marriage? And if it could be so recognized, would it find readers? When I see such a narrow, snarling criticism as the above, I always say to myself, the writer is some unhappy man who has come up without the refining influence of mother or sister or reputable female friends, who has divided his migratory life between boarding houses, restaurants, and the outskirts of editorial sanctums, and who knows as much about reviewing a woman's book as I do about navigating a ship, or engineering an omnibus from the South Ferry through Broadway to Union Park. I think I see him writing that paragraph in a fit of spleen, of male spleen, in his small boarding-house upper chamber, by the cheerful light of a solitary candle, flickering alternately on cobwebbed walls, dusty washstand, begrimed bowl and pitcher, refused cigar stumps, boot jacks, old hats, buttonless coats, muddy trousers, and all the wretched accompaniments of solitary, selfish male existence, not to speak of his own puckered, unkissable face. Perhaps, in addition, his boots hurt, his cravat bow persists in slipping under his ear for want of a pin, and a wife to pin it, poor wretch, or he has been refused by some pretty girl, as he deserved to be, narrow-minded old vinegar cruet, or snubbed by some lady authoress, or, more trying than all to the male constitution, has had a weak cup of coffee for that morning's breakfast. But seriously, we have had quite enough of this shallow criticism on lady books. Whether the book which called forth the remark above quoted was a good book or a bad one, I know not. I should be inclined to think the former, from the dispraise of such a pen. Whether ladies can write novels or not is a question I do not intend to discuss, but that some of them have no difficulty in finding either publishers or readers is a matter of history, and that gentlemen often write over feminine signatures would seem also to argue that feminine literature is, after all, in good odor with the reading public. Granted that lady novels are not all that they should be, is such shallow, unfair, wholesale, sneering criticism the way to reform them? Would it not be better and more manly to point out a better way kindly, justly, and above all, respectfully? Or what would be a much harder task for such critics? Write a better book. This has been Male Criticism on Ladies' Books by Fanny Fern, also known as Sarah Willis Parton, read by Timothy Hurley.